Hello, my PBC family and friends. Pastor Brian here with another quick bite, living the Word. Today, our word is going to come from 1 Timothy chapter 6. And it's a passage you're probably familiar with, but one I think we need to be focused on right now as a church during the time in which we live. I hear a lot of people today stressing about the economy and what may happen to the economy and what's going to happen, and based off of whatever's going to happen here in America. And let's worry about the economy and the economy and the economy. And this is what I keep hearing. Now, I understand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying I want our economy to fail or collapse or anything of that nature. But it makes me wonder why we're so focused upon the economy. Because honestly, what comes to my mind when I think about this is 1 Timothy chapter 6. And I want to just read to you verse 10 there, if you would. Right? It says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." I would have to say there's a lot of people I know who have been pierced through with the sorrows over the what's been happening to our economy. Now, I'm just as saddened by some of the losses of businesses and people that we know who have lost their jobs and so on and so forth during this time. And I'm not sitting here saying I don't empathize with those things and that I'm not worried about those things and that I don't pray for them and do what I can to help them out. But honestly, is it that we love money too much? Because notice what he says there, that if we do, we covet after these things, then it says what? They have erred from the faith. This is the point. Where's your faith really at? Is your faith in the economy? Is your faith in the world, in the things of the world? Is your faith in money, whatever the case may be? Or is your faith really grounded upon God? He goes on from that point. He says, "But thou, O man of God, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, and meekness." Here's the point. What we're seeking after is not money. It's not things that can be taken away from us. It's not things that we can lose by the collapse of any sort of system. What we're seeking after as Christians is the righteousness, the goodness, the faith, the love, the patience, and meekness of God. As a matter of fact, to kind of drive that point home, let's go back to what really brought these thoughts about. If we were to back up into what Paul is talking about, he says in verse 6, that all too familiar verse again, "But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing," this is verse 7, "for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition." Which then he goes on to talk about the love of the money, erring from the faith because we coveted after it and pierced ourselves through, brought about sorrows into our life. Here's the real driving factor here. Are you content with God? Is God enough? If everything was taken away from you, you lost your family, you lost your home, you lost your job, you lost your cars, you lost your health, you lost everything, is God enough? If at the end of the day, all you can say is all I really have in my life is God, can you be content with that? Because if you can be content with that, he says there that godliness with contentment is great gain. Now, I know someone go, well, he's talking about the attributes of godliness. Yes, of course, but all those attributes are God himself. So are you content with God alone? Or do you need more than God to be content? Because if at any point in our lives, and I'm just as guilty as the next guy, we examine ourselves and discover that we need more than just God to be content. I need a certain man to get elected. I need the certain freedoms that I've enjoyed in the past. I need whatever it is. If we can't say that with God I am content, then honestly, we're erring from the faith. We're getting off track. We need to get back to our first love, back to where we belong, which is where it is that we are content with just God. Well, I love you. We love you. God loves you. And God's got this.